Christians are very delusional and have absolutely zero concept of science. So in a video where I talked about the fact that if this guy wanted to get rid of all evil, then would people exist? Of course, Christians wouldn't exist because the Christians themselves admit that they cannot rid themselves of all evil. Now, he likened the idea of this God, because I also talked about the fact that this God can never get rid of all evil, because then this God has evil within itself, as displayed by his actions within the Bible, and also as displayed with his personality towards people. Now, based on the fact that they call that this God is the creator of all things, if evil exists, it had to come out of this God. And because of the law of polarity, if you have a thing, it has its high vibration and its low vibration. So it has its good. If there is good, then there must be evil. He likened it to light and darkness, because we know that if there is light, there must be darkness. You cannot have one over the other. And he talks about, as he said, just because the light, just like light gets rid of darkness, it is an impartial and impervious. It is impartial and impervious to darkness. So like the presence of God, what is there more in the universe? Light or darkness? When you look at the universe through a telescope, there is more darkness than there is light in our universe. You cannot have light without the creation. Light cannot be created without darkness. Light cannot exist without darkness. If everything was light, then we would not have night. We would only have daytime. But light can never destroy darkness, because light can only be as bright as the energy to which it has. And at some point, the light weakens. Even when you, and then I know they're going to say, well, God is omnipresent. He will light up the entire world. He will light up the entire universe. When you get into Revelations, it talks about how God will be the light and there will be no darkness. Although there are going to be days and there are going to be years and there are going to be seasons for some reason, because it talks about the trees producing fruit within their seasons. You still have the problem of the fact that that is something that is impossible. If you go into a room and you turn on a bright light, in the cracks, in the crevices, there's still shadows, there's still levels of darkness even within that room. You look into your upper right corners, upper left corners, and you still see some form of darkness. Even in a closed-in room, there are some levels of darkness within the room because of the power of the light. Now you're going to say that God is so powerful that he would illuminate the entire universe, that he will be the light. But even in your stories of creation, your God said, let there be light. The Christian idea is that God was the light. Since the sun and the moon weren't created until the fourth day, that your God was the light. But he said there was the day and the evening, and that made a day. So even in his light, there was darkness. There was still an evening. There was still night. And then he started on the next day. And that was the day and then not in the evening. And then, so there is another night. There, even in his creation where he was the light, there was still darkness. It's an indicator that no matter what you say, no matter how you try to explain it, no matter how much confirmation bias you try to use or how delusional you are, your God is not powerful enough to end all darkness. Your God is not powerful enough to end all evil, because your God is also the personification of that evil. You claim that he is the personification of good. Even if I gave you that, he cannot be all of one thing. This is the idea of the yin yang, with the white with a little bit of black, with the black circle, the black with a little bit of white circle. Some see it as a portal between the two realms, but most often it is looked upon as that no matter how much of one you have, there is always the presence of the other. But like I said, look into the universe. Is there more light in the universe? Is there more darkness in the universe? Light can never, ever vanquish the darkness. It will always be there. So your God, he is the darkness. And your example is basic at best. So y'all have a great day. Well, tell me what you guys think. Tell me what you guys think. Is there a possibility of a God existing and is all good that would violate his own rules of the universe, of the law of polarity and the law of vibration? He will violate his own rules. And you would call that supernatural, but it's not supernatural. It's an impossibility, because the all can only be the all at all times. It can't be anything other than that. And since everything and all the laws were created based on the all, according to Hermeticum, then there is the higher vibrations that you call God, the lower vibrations that you call the devil, but they exist and they are the same, on the same pole. It just depends on how your perspective of looking at it, where you vibrate, where he vibrates, he or she, it vibrates on the scale. So always remember, you have to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibrations.